Good morning. Today we'll be discussing the ethical concerns of contamination resulting from the human exploration of space and its ramifications on the future of extraterrestrial research. My name is Agaram Chanreddy Gari.
My name is Manuel Cruz Jimenez.
My name is Kyle.
My name is Luna Vargas. Space exploration reaches far beyond the stars, beyond just planets and galaxies, but instead onto almost everyone and everything here on Earth. It affects politics, economics, the environment, and it also comes with important ethical questions that impact all of humankind.
Now, when answering the question if it's ethical to risk mass contamination of foreign planets to pursue space exploration, our group has decided that it is in fact ethical to do so. And the reason why is because in the modern day world, right? Basically,
So, the making space exploration ethical and sustainable requires cooperation and smart planning. The first thing that countries should focus is funding through partnerships. Shostak states that private industries in countries that work together, they could share costs, reduce risks of the mission, and collaboration between them would build strong relationships. Roy also adds that investing in new technology prevents contamination and protects future research. Countries that align its policies could create consistent global standards, and Kavanaugh states that creating shared rules would make missions more efficient and reliable. Finally, progress should continue, which would cause strong ethical standards over partnerships, advanced tech, policies, and allow exploration to be safe and sustainable.
First, we need to address the increasing economic benefits that space exploration has provided, regardless of underlying contamination, in comparison to the stark costs of the stark financial and opportunity costs of extensive regulation.
Something to consider about space exploration is that strict policies to try and decrease contamination, while virtuous, could actually increase cost and set back missions. Another thing about space exploration is that it could benefit everyone on Earth if findings are found once we explore the outer layers of the atmosphere. The graph here shows an attempt at reducing contamination by recycling and intelligently managing stages of launch. The data, though, also shows that it came with very high cost. So while this mission properly implemented environmentally sustainable initiatives, the steps caused make it impractical and unbeneficial due to the very steep costs that come along with it.
Alright, now, one of these limitations would be the damaging overall offenses that could happen if we contaminate these planets. Now, according to Grosta and Roy, it can damage research in what we do in space. Remediations of these can be very costly if not well planned, and not only that, if we continue to damage these, the expenses can only go higher and higher. As shown by this graph right here, you can see the debris over the years have increased way too much over time to the point where it looks exponential. And the reason to this is because since we have been advancing in technology, and since space mission or space companies have not really been putting the proper considerations to debris, we have been having a very steady issue with it.
So, space exploration is both a global economic challenge when countries, they cooperate in missions which reduce risks, they develop better technology, and they build strong relationships. However, sometimes countries tend to prioritize political interests or even a nation's pride itself. But in the space missions, it's better to prioritize both ethical and a responsible way of doing the missions.
Now let's take a look at how international cooperation can mitigate the negative risks of contamination resulting from human exploration of space. According to Kara Kavanaugh, accredited researcher at the Institute of Defense Analysis, global coordination regarding space exploration could improve diplomacy and international cooperation. Adding on, Randy Shostak of Bioscience affirms that coordination between nations during exploration makes sure that risks are managed and no financial burdens and debt are concentrated on a single country, which could suffer economically if a single mission were to fail. As you can see in the chart provided by Oxford, Countries have increased their academic output resulting from collaboration in the last 2 decades, meaning that countries can and should work together to mitigate the risks and maximize innovation from space exploration.
Cooperation in space could negatively cause narrow interest for a country itself. In order to prevent these outcomes, strict cooperation policies should be avoided if they have the potential to harm an individual country. Inconsistencies in policies should also be avoided because it can build inefficiency for both countries. This large amount that needs to be accounted for, as proven by this graph that just shows a few of them, is the main reason why it is easy for countries to have policies that are very strict and would negatively impact both countries.
Now, for a final claim, we will show how the cost of new technology can both correlate and go against savings that go long term.
So one of the major costs in space exploration is the cost of the advanced technology. This graph here shows that the expenses is higher due to a stricter contamination controls. So as more controls are added, higher it will be the price. But this is a major investment in it explains the techs that are expensive, but they are necessary and which makes the mission safe and more responsible. High costs highlight the ethical commitment in exploration. These investments conclude that better technology and that humanity is focused on safety and integrity over convenience, ensuring that missions will be responsible and will make the environment stay protected.
Although the benefits of employing current remediations for contamination are extensive, we must recognize the significant long-term benefit of stronger regulations. Specifically, strong regulations could greatly decrease failed missions, which protects billions of dollars in research and investment. Furthermore, preventing contamination and long winding processes such as those outlined in the chart provided by NASA regarding planetary protection make sure that the integrity of research is not compromised. This means that regulations, despite greatly reducing mission efficiency, do prevent misleading space research. That's all. Thank you for your time.